So today I'm going to be doing a few jobs on the Corniche in preparation for the Classic Car Restoration Show, which takes place at the NEC the last weekend in March. It's sponsored by Practical Classics, and I'll be taking a couple of cars where I'll be representing one of my main sponsors, Footman James. So the first job on the list of things to do, I'll be tackling the steering joints. So let's get them cleaned up and see what we've got. It looks like spider's legs, but believe it or not, these rods and components, along with the power steering box and pump, are basically responsible for your whole steering. On these cars, because they're so heavy and cumbersome, they tend to wear out along with the ball joints. So maintenance is key, making sure good quality grease is pumped in, along with the checking of the car's tracking and tyres. Just a simple split in a rubber can accelerate wear, triggering premature failure of these components. So along with the regular servicing of these cars, it's important these are checked periodically. So off with the old components. Quick clean. And in with the new grease. And as you can see, the parts come as a complete kit with all the components you need to complete the job. From Prestige Parts. But before reassembly, don't forget the crucial ball bearing. Now here's the tricky bit. Rub it on first with its circlip. Carefully wind the spring in. On with the top hat, then using a socket to push the spring down, then carefully lift the rubber over the top. We all got our little ways, haven't we? We got there in the end. So on the track rod ends, there are 4 of these rubbers and springs. However, on the steering linkages that fit through the idler arms, this has a different setup. These have a shorter floating donut type seal. These simply slide on, and when the linkage is tightened up with the nut, they make the seal. Now I feel like we're getting somewhere. A little bit of a clean up. And whilst everything's off, I might as well give it some fresh paint just to complete the job. So with everything rebuilt and looking like new, it's time for reassembly. So I took the whole thing off in one piece. It was probably a good job I did, because if you look at these, the shape here where they bow out and they bow out that way, I'm sure if you got these the wrong way around you'd have real problems, you know, when you try to fit them back on. Also the arrangements of this, if I had it the other way around, again would have had problems. So I think the easiest thing to do is just take pictures of it when you take it off, so you know exactly how it goes back together again, and then you're not going to have any problems. So yeah, this is all brand new, as you can see. Good to go again, all rebuilt. And back on it goes. Rolls-Royce specialists Introcar, along with their prestige parts range, have been sponsors of the channel since we started just 6 months ago. So with all that done, I'm going to take a trip in with a list of parts I'm going to need in the run-up to the NEC in March. And I'm simply gagging to take a look at their stores. And it'd be nice to finally meet up with the team and appreciate the work they actually put in here in becoming such a successful outfit.
Gary in the reception waiting for you. See you. Brilliant. Thank you.
John Tupper is CEO and co-owner of the company, and today he's kindly invited me down to see what they're all about.
Do you want to look around while we're here?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Come on.
Come on. After you.
Cheers.
So here's the sales office.
Hi guys.
So this is where the action really happens.
Hiya. So who's your main man in the technical department?
Well, so I guess would say probably Matt and Phil.
Are you there?
All right, yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, we've spoken on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started out in a garage underneath Introcar's old premises, and yeah, it's just a two-car garage, but it was a Rolls-Royce and Bentley specialist. I was doing clouds, shadows, turbos, spirits, that kind of thing.
But in terms of like if somebody phones up with a problem with the car and they need something technical explained to them,
Yeah.
you can do that,
Yeah.
because
I
you've
mean,
been hands-on.
Building on top of that experience, just with talking to people and trying to solve problems,
Yeah.
you gain a lot of experience that way as well.
I think I've solved a few for you, haven't I?
You probably have.
So what's this here?
That's for your car, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. So that goes. You know, we were talking about the rear.
Put it in the
silencer.
bag. Put it in the bag.
You're going to need it probably.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Is that for the rear box?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
pretty complicated, all that.
Well, there's a load of engineering, even something simple like that.
Yeah.
Christian's in the marketing department, so he'll be doing like 360-degree videos of products.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Phil there. The sales manager.
You okay?
Nice to finally meet you at
Yeah,
last.
definitely nice to meet you. Spoken a lot on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's it going?
Good, yeah. So what's your background, Phil?
So I started in Jack Barclay's as an apprentice, mainly on the modern GTs. So anything GT onwards, GT, Mulsanne, Arnage.
So you're
So
the more
that's-
modern stuff, yeah?
That's sort of my technical side is more on the modern stuff. I've learned more about the older cars, probably being at Introcar. The hubs, you're doing the hubs or the drive shafts.
Oh yeah. When I first got the Corniche on the road, basically it's got the old ABS system on it where
Yeah.
that ball bearing goes to the front. If you do an emergency stop and it sticks and all your brakes lock up,
Yeah.
and I literally had flames coming out the back wheels. So
Just locked up.
I knew it was only a matter of, I mean it's a
Yeah.
common thing with them, but I knew it was
That's
only a
the
matter
big,
of time before it dried the wheel bearings out.
So we actually had to reverse engineer the replacement kit for those. You couldn't get that part from Bentley. They've literally made it obsolete.
You know, it's really important to form a good relationship with the parts department, not just for competitive prices, but also to glean an understanding of the parts needed and what's entailed in restoration and maintenance, whatever the model.
All right. So this is where you start to see what we've actually made.
This is like the Avengers.
This is all secondary storage. So
So this is all exhaust systems,
yeah, you've got some exhaust systems there.
straight off the shelf. Centre boxes, rear boxes, there's everything here. Wow.
So you've got things like this, which we've made. That's where the number plate goes on the silver clad. I mean, that is no one's got those except
That
us.
is fabulous.
But you can actually see how it's fabricated there.
Oh.
Because
So
otherwise
these were
you'd be-
discontinued or they're still available, but
No,
at
no,
an
they-
astronomical price?
you could only restore them, and they're all bent, and you know they all had problems with rippling and so on.
Yeah.
So we made them from scratch.
Quarter light.
That's quarter light. This is a steering hose.
Oh yeah, power steering.
So yeah, that'll be for an Arnage because they had a lot of this kind of.
yeah, that's like a heat shield, is it?
Yeah, there's a heat shield on the actual because that's close to the exhaust.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean that's not an easy part to make.
You got all the fluids here, John.
They're kind of sweet, aren't they?
And
I
you
like them.
Steve has something to do with this place.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I'm really impressed that you actually stock all this stuff. Bumpers as well.
Yep. Well, that's probably an original bumper.
It is, yeah.
That's a fully rebuilt hub.
That's amazing.
So we've
Where
made
the
all
shock
all
absorber
into
goes into, yeah.
the shock absorber ball joint goes. The lower ball joint goes in there, I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
We were developing a piston, so we needed a crankshaft to put on the bench to replicate the movement of the engine, so we can make sure there was clearance. We get problems, we have to solve them. So all of this is just samples, you know, which we're retaining for future use.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a few things I could do with off the top of my head. I've just put all my bumpers in to be re-chromed. Where the overriders go onto the bumpers, there's like rubbers that go in between
Yeah, we've
them,
got all
isn't
of
there?
those. Yeah, have you got the little bungs that go in? There's a little triangular hole at the top, and there's
Well-
little plastic bungs.
Also, it's taken me a long time to start the car in the morning. It was always first touch of the key, so I think it's time I took the SUs off and...
Had a look, yeah. Well, I mean, again, there's rebuild kits for those.
Do you do the rebuild
We've
kits?
got them all here. Yeah, we always stock those. So you know, because that's a relatively common
Yeah.
service part that you'd need to.
I think it's one of them, John. If you don't use the car as regularly as you should be using it, then you know.
We can give you that stuff today. I mean, that's here.
You've got the stuff here, yeah?
We've always got the stuff here, yeah. I mean, it's all. I mean, we distribute around the world. I mean, we've got people in Belgium, in Sweden, America, Australia, United States. So we have people who stock our stuff all around the world, but this is the hub.
Head gaskets?
Yeah, well, that's something we're really proud of. I mean, you know the brand, the Prestige Parts brand, don't you?
Yeah. No, listen, John, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really rate what you guys do because there's few people like you out there that are remanufacturing parts that are obsolete and no longer available and better than the originals.
If you need a head gasket for your car, you cannot get one from Bentley. So that's the original gasket, and this gasket just isn't forgiving enough. So we've developed our own one, which is this one.
Well, these go all the time, don't they? Especially in 50-year-old
They do,
cars.
and I mean, this material here has a 70% rebound. So when the engine cools down and the pressures relax, then this will actually rebound, and that's a lot more forgiving for an older engine. I've got to introduce you to Mo.
Hi, Mo.
So,
Nice to meet you.
Mo came to us from, you were head of quality at Brompton Bikes. Before that, you were at McLaren and also Lotus.
Yeah.
His job was really to introduce some rigour to the quality assurance process. We're a small company. We're aiming high. We don't cut corners. What I want is when someone sees this box, they go, oh, good, it's Prestige Parts. This is a good example here, isn't it? Yeah, so that's what we started with. So that goes on between two parts of an air intake. So that was another one. So we started with that, and that was the sample. And that's an anti-fume seal for a Silver Cloud 1.
We've got the 3D model, which is fine-tuned, and you can section it.
What's this, John? This camshaft?
So that's actually the camshaft for your car. We're just going through final quality appraisal. You put the camshaft into a CMM, which is a computer coordinate measuring machine.
I'm just measuring the taper to ensure that the tappets rotate correctly.
So distributor caps and rotor arms and that, you remanufacture all those?
Well, these are actually bought off the shelf, but we've got a problem with those. So we're actually we think that there's a problem.
Isn't good enough.
The retention's not good enough.
Yeah.
So we're working with a supplier to change that. I mean that's a Beirut part. We actually have quite a nice relationship with Beirut in Europe.
Beirut are good. I used a lot of Beirut on the Mercedes.
Yeah. When we were checking the head gasket, we use a pressure sensitive film to look at what pressures you're getting when you clamp the two macing parts together. That's a suspension mount. Now we're sending this off to get it. This is a subframe mount.
The swing at the back when you're going around bends and that.
Yeah, and that's what's holding your subframe in with it and stopping the vibration.
Do you know what I did? I restored an Alfa Romeo Spider about 10 years ago, and when it was going round bends, it was terrifying. I thought the back wheels were just flying out, you know, behind me. I thought, what's going on? And these were totally mashed. And it was a big job, but I replaced them and it transformed the car. I mean, it was just like steady as anything after that, you know. They're really crucial, these, aren't they? Well, and they're overlooked as well.
Here's a section one. We need to spec the product so we can send it to the supplier who can then make something. We then test it, but the specification is our responsibility. So Mo's job now is to draw this up.
I had no idea it was so involved, really, you know.
Well, it can take years to bring a product to
market. And a lot of investment has to go in, you know, to...
You wait till we go downstairs.
Come on then.
Yeah, all right, I'll show you. So this is just where everything comes in and shipments come in, they get processed and they go to the right places. So you'll have back-to-back orders where they're just in and out.
Chassis?
That is a subframe which I've bought just because we're actually making the mounts for these.
Yeah.
Because they're not available any longer and they're starting to wear out.
It's not a 4 1/4 litre Bentley engine.
It is.
Sorry, you just told me before.
So yeah, that's an exchange unit which we're going to send off for rebuilding because we do a massive range of components for these now. That's
shock absorber.
Shock absorber.
One, is it?
This is actually the core shock absorber. We build it up into a kit. That's the core damper unit.
The turbos and all
the
that.
Turbos and all of that. Yeah. You'll see that every single part is being made from scratch.
That's quality, that.
We do water pumps. This is brand new outright pumps.
So there's no exchange now, no? Is that what you're working away from?
We're trying to get away from that. That's a master cylinder for Mark 6, Silver Dawn, Silver Wraith and R-Type. We build that up into a complete assembly.
Put all the seals in.
Brake discs for the Continental GT.
These are all service parts, yeah?
Yeah, well that's a height control valve. That's the boot seal for a Cloud or an S-Type. Exhausts, we've probably got the part you need.
I could probably do with the rear box.
So as you can see, all of this is zoned, but you just...
Wow, so it's like a double level full of parts, isn't it?
Well, we haven't even gotten through to the other side yet. I mean, it's amazing what you get into and what you learn about. I mean, I think that's my favourite part of the business. So we've done a huge range of service stuff.
Can't get over all these bumps.
Yeah.
Do you do anything in the way of buying cars and stripping them for parts?
I've always wanted to go towards new spares because it's cleaner. It's also repeatable. That's a damper ball joint for an Anage and Serif range. So we're doing a lot of parts for those now because the parts are not as available as they were. So that's a relatively technical product. We're dealing with people who are supplying Mercedes and BMW and even McLaren and places like that.
So I take it you supply other Rolls-Royce distributors like Flying Spurs, for instance. Do you supply them with a lot of parts?
We've got, they're a good customer of ours. I mean, there's a lot of intertrade in a business like ours, in, you know, in an industry like ours.
So calipers, John?
Calipers, where are they? Showing your calipers, they're here. All right. So that is a brand new caliper. So I think this is right for your car. I've got the chassis range right. Complete assembly, brand new, ready to fit. Everything, all of this linkage, which tends to seize up. And I think that's around £300.
Well, I'm looking at these, and you normally have a big
You may have the
piston
earlier one.
and then a small one, and they're both the same size.
That's
so
because that's for the
probably
later
wrong
car.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, do the job.
Yeah, you can fit them. I mean, I'm a bit of a stickler for getting the right ones in there.
So these are not quite right. No.
Yeah, but we can supply you everything you need to rebuild yours.
Yeah.
Obviously from stock.
Hoses.
Yeah, we have almost done, I think, now every hose.
Yeah.
There's a few left to do.
And what's around here, John?
And as we walk around, John gives me some of the history of how he and Introcar came to be.
I came into it completely by chance. There were a couple of guys working at Introcar way in the old days, and I was working in a pub opposite. We had a lovely old traditional landlord, and he used to let us have lock-ins. So these two young guys, we got friendly, and one of the guys said, I'd really love, why don't you come and work for us? I had no idea about cars. I just came along and I guess I was there for a while. I started picking up phones, bit of a problem solver. You start to learn what the challenges are in the business. There were tons of challenges at the time. I was 22, so I've been, literally 30 years, man and boy in this business. And so here's where the action's happening. These guys are picking, packing and dispatching. It's a pretty seamless operation. We make mistakes, but it's not a lot. And it's lovely when someone says, oh, everything you do is brilliant. You don't learn anything from that. It's a nice, warm feeling, but actually it hasn't taught you anything. So you've got to listen. And the truth is, there are so many people who know more than I do. And when you start thinking you know stuff, you probably should retire. You need to be prepared to be told what you're doing wrong and not get upset about it.
That's what I like about you, John. You're very passionate about what you do, and it's like it makes a massive difference. You enjoy what you do. You love your job, don't you?
I've got the.
You get out of bed in the morning and you think, I can do this, I can do it, and I can improve this, and it's great that you're passionate about what you do.
The only thing I hate is there's so much to do.
And starting at the bottom and working his way up, learning all the different facets of the business along the way, has actually helped him to appreciate what the rest of his team bring to the table.
You appreciate what they're doing, and when things go wrong and they make mistakes, you understand it, because there's not many mistakes that I've not been guilty of.
Well, John, I really appreciate what you're doing. I'm sure a lot of other people do, because you're helping me and other people, classic car nuts, keep our classics on the road.
Yeah.
Which is important, because a lot of these parts, as I've said before, are becoming obsolete. Yeah. Well, cheers, John.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Sounds like that. Wow.
So you've got quite a bit of stuff here to take away, make it worth your while. The whole lot, 100% of what you wanted, it's right there.
John, this is fantastic. Look, let me know what I owe you for all this. I'm sure you're going to give me discounts.
Yeah, no, I'll look after you.
Oh wow. This is a lot for me to be getting on with.
Yeah, no, that's going to keep you out of trouble.
Right. So here I am back home. Just checking out the booty. As you can see here, I've got hundreds of seals here for the lights, around the chrome on the lights, the indicators, around the grille. There's a complete set there. I've got handbrake cables with the springs. Nice new pair. They always start to stick and fail. We've got a rear exhaust. This little complicated spring arrangement, which is like a shock absorber for the rear exhaust. Jubilee clip. We've got a complete set to rebuild the SU carburetors. On the seal there. Brakes, new pistons, small and big. Yeah, all the seals and the clips. And this is the crown and glory. When I got the new bumpers back from the chrome places, they're all refitted. And I got the new exhaust box at the back. And look at that. Like, it should really set the paint off and the rear bumpers, and it should look a treat. So it's not just going to improve the car aesthetically, but mechanically also, because it's going to give me peace of mind that all these jobs are going to be done. And for me, that's what it's all about. You know, it's only a daily driver. It's not a show car by any means, but at least I know all the jobs are being done in all the right places, so it makes you feel good, and it'll be nice for people to see at the NEC anyway. So tune in the next couple of episodes, and as you can see, I've got plenty to do.
Thank you for watching this episode of Classic Obsession. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And join me next time when we're back on the Lotus.